Most business books don't change your life. In fact, most of them are a complete waste of your time. They offer the same recycled advice, wrapped in a different cover, promising a shortcut to success that doesn't exist. But today we are talking about the outliers. These are the 5 books that actually do the work. One of these books explains why incredibly smart people stay broke, while others with less talent build empires. Another shows why working harder is actually the worst move you can make if you want to scale a company. I'm going to show you how these books provide a roadmap to business success by shifting your perspective entirely. Stay until the end, because the final book is the one most people aren't ready for. It's uncomfortable, it's challenging, and it is the single most important factor in whether you succeed or fail in the long run. The reason most business books don't work isn't necessarily because the information is bad. It's because they are too theoretical. They are filled with fluff and motivational jargon that feels good in the moment but leaves you with no idea what to do on Monday morning. They focus on the what, but they never explain the why or the how. This creates a cycle of shelf help, where you collect knowledge but never see a change in your bank account or your lifestyle. These 5 books are different. They work because they don't just tell you what to do, they change how you think. They are built on timeless ideas backed by psychology, economics, and real-world results. They provide an entrepreneurial mindset that functions as a lens through which you see every opportunity and obstacle. Let's start with the book that quietly controls your money decisions before you even realize you've made them. Book number 1 is The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. This isn't just a book about wealth, it is a foundation for how to live in the modern economy. The core idea here is that you will never get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain financial freedom. This works because it taps into the psychological principle of leverage. Most people are stuck in a linear relationship between input and output. If they work 10 hours, they get paid for 10 hours. Naval teaches you to look for non-linear rewards. He explains that in the age of the internet, you can use code and media to work for you while you sleep. This is why some 20-year-olds are making millions while 50-year-olds are struggling to pay rent. It's not about effort, it's about judgment and specific knowledge. A practical takeaway you can apply today is to identify what you were doing as a child that felt like play but looked like work to others. That is your specific knowledge. When you build a business around that, you aren't competing, you are just being yourself, and that is impossible to replicate. If that book fixes how you think about wealth, the next one fixes how you act on those thoughts. Book number 2 is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Most people think business success comes from a single big break or a massive stroke of luck. This book proves that success is actually the lag measure of your daily habits. The core framework is that you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. This works because of the biological reality of dopamine and neurological pathways. Why do most people fail? Because they focus on the outcome instead of the identity. They say, I want to be a millionaire, rather than, I am the type of person who never misses a sales call. Before applying this principle, life is a chaotic series of bursts of motivation followed by inevitable crashes. After applying it, you understand that being 1% better every day leads to massive compounding results over a year. For entrepreneurs and employees alike, the daily application is environment design. If you want to be more productive, don't rely on willpower. Change your environment so that the good habit is the path of least resistance. The next book explains why working more hours is often a trap that keeps you from ever reaching the next level. Book number 3 is The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. This book is frequently misunderstood as a guide for being lazy, but it is actually the definitive manual on leverage and systems. The central realization here is that busyness is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. It works because it applies the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, to your entire life. In any business, 80% of your results come from 20% of your activities. Most people spend their entire day on the 80% that doesn't matter, drowning in emails and urgent tasks that have zero impact on the bottom line. This is why hustle alone doesn't build wealth, it just builds burnout. How do businesses scale without the founder losing their mind? They use the DEAL acronym: define, eliminate, automate, and liberate. You define what truly matters, eliminate the fluff, automate the repetitive, and liberate yourself from the geographic and temporal constraints of a traditional job. If this video is already changing how you think about your time, hit like, because book number 5 is the most uncomfortable one on the list. Book number 4 moves into the deep territory of wealth psychology. This is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book destroys the belief that doing well with money is about how smart you are. It is almost entirely about how you behave. Genius is the man who can do the average thing when all those around him are going crazy. The reason smart people still lose in the markets and in business is often due to ego, impatience, and a lack of long-term thinking. Housel explains that wealth is what you don't see. It's the cars not purchased and the diamonds not bought. It's the flexibility to wake up and do whatever you want. This works because it addresses our inherent cognitive biases. We are wired for survival and short-term dopamine hits, not for the slow, boring process of compounding wealth. A real-world business example is the company that grows too fast on debt because the founder wants to look successful, only to collapse at the first sign of a recession. The practical takeaway is a decision-making filter. Stop trying to be rational and start trying to be reasonable. Rationality is a math equation. Reasonableness is what allows you to sleep at night so you don't make emotional mistakes. The final book doesn't teach business tactics, it changes who you become. Book number 5 is Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. This is the book people discover after they've achieved success and realize they are still unhappy, or they discover it when they are stuck and can't figure out why. The core idea is that you have a self-image that acts like a thermostat for your life. If you see yourself as a $50,000 a year person, you will unconsciously self-sabotage every opportunity that could take you to $500,000. This works because of a neuroscience principle called the servo mechanism. Your brain is a goal-striving machine that works to bring your external reality into alignment with your internal self-image. Most people resist this book because it forces them to take absolute responsibility for their current situation. It's not the economy or the boss, it's the internal blueprint they are following. The application is a radical identity shift. You must visualize yourself as the person who has already achieved the business success you desire. You have to see it and feel it before the world reflects it back to you. This is the book that separates the people who play at business from the people who embody it. Now, knowing these books is one thing, but how do you actually read them without wasting time? The biggest mistake people make is reading from cover to cover like they are in a high school English class. Don't do that. Instead, read with a specific problem in mind. If your business is stagnating, go straight to the chapters on leverage and systems. If you find yourself procrastinating, dive back into the mechanics of habits. Take action on one single idea before you even finish the chapter. Books don't change lives. Applied ideas do. If you read all 5 of these and change nothing about your daily routine, you haven't learned anything. You've just entertained yourself. I recommend rereading the key chapters of these books every single year. As you grow, the words stay the same, but your ability to understand them evolves. A single book applied is worth more than 50 books read and forgotten. Business success isn't about knowing everything. It's about mastering the few things that actually move the needle. You now have the list that covers mindset, execution, systems, psychology, and identity. Which one of these books should I break down in a full deep dive video next? Let me know in the comments. And if you're ready to stop just thinking about ideas and start turning them into income, you should watch this next video right here. It's time to stop reading about success and start building it.